Look at this. Alright. Sorry about sniffling and shit. I got a dozen things I'm doing at once. But kitty cat's bad. I mean, dumbass. Testing the dog. Alright. This is gonna be kind of short probably. I done a bunch of work, and I think everybody wants to probably see this. So here is Abyss, the new one. I don't know if it's gonna play right coming through here. I need to move probably these two things around to the right, because right at the beginning you can hear a double end. So it is what it is. There it is right here. You know, it'd be really cool if I could just maybe it's this old one. Nope, that's the new one. So yeah, now let's do this. I haven't put an album art in there yet. Let's do randomization. Yeah. You guys probably get talk back. I got this on. Turn it. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that. That was definitely a favorite of mine. Right now, I got another song too. I gotta go back to the other one, and I gotta move things and get it right. It sounds good for what it is, and I noticed that once you get, let me show you, so you can see, once you move all of this stuff, like the guitars, okay, see how crunchy that is? So, like, the context is the thing, too. So, like, that might sound crunchy and low, but the context sounds great. So, it's kind of a game in a wheelhouse of messing with that EQ on that guitar. Not too much, but instead of messing with the EQ a lot, I did this. Yeah, I got the EQ and everything. But originally, before all this, and I don't even know if I got the multi-tracks to the guitars anymore. Might have gotten rid of those. Yeah, looks like I did. Before then, inside the program, and this was done from the Membrini. I didn't use the Helix. And I thought that the Membrini was a little bit more realistic. It just sounded more realistic. Now, if I go and I add function this down, that's that low end that we're hearing. If I push it down in there, still quite high on that ratio, but if I cut down the ratio, it comes down in intensity, and we start getting that hum back. So that's why it was left the way it was. But now, that sounds pretty good too. So I don't know if you guys are hearing that because of the clack back. Probably you're hearing that from the audio from the mic here playing back in the room too at the same time. So I'm going to mute this and let you guys hear the difference between that. Moving between programs, I guess, is not a good idea, but you guys got the gist of that. So what I did is I listen in the context and out of the context. I'm listening out of the context because I need to hear for the hum. the vibrations and hums that we don't want. I'm listening in the context to hear what it sounds like together. If it's glued, sounds separated. So what I've done is I've glued that in, and I left enough room on the high ends and the low ends so that everything else has room. There's a role for everything. Bass is a bass. That's going to hit the bass ends. And the guitars don't belong in the bass because it's not a bass. So I'll get rid of not all of the bass end, but enough. So you can still get the chug and the bass end of the chug with the bass together in context. When you mix your EQ, pay attention to that end. That's why I was doing that. I'm soloing the bass end so I can hear just the bass end of my guitar, and I can hear the relation between the bass and that guitar and the mix context. You could do it close and say, okay, I want to just highlight just the guitar and the bass together and do it too. That's fine. You can get closer. But you'll end up moving that needle again. So just do it to the context. The other thing is the relationship to the drum. So that snare and the cymbals are very important. You want to balance those down. And a lot of the programs by default have them up quite high. So you got to turn them down. You'll see a tom. There's a tom in there I'm hunting because there's a part in there where the toms come up too high. You got to get those too. You want to compress those hats and you want to push them down to -2, somewhere around there. And the reason why I say that is because you get the sizzliness and you don't want to start shaping and wave shaping that. You don't want to start touching an EQ necessarily. You just want to push it down some decibels just on that frequency end. And if you do it within by using the drum program, you got it in MIDI, then go there and do it there. It's an easy process once you get these things down because then now you can start to hear where your guitar mistakes are at. You can start to hear things because it gives that clarity. It's almost like there's so much clutter inside of the sonic box that you need to be able to hear through that sonic of everything. You need to be able to hear sonically. You need to be able to hear everything, but you need to hear it in a way that you can hear the guitar, drums, bass, and vocalist clearly, not necessarily separated, but together as a whole. So like when you listen to music, older tunes, it's very distorted in the back. There's some things they did, like maybe to hide some bad vocals or something that's, maybe they did the vocals in the room, and there's a little bit of volume from other things in that same room. So they had to back and turn their back away and get as close as and away from sound sonic from inside that room so they didn't get that in there. And they use things like Paultex and stuff like that to push down the low ends of the rumble so you can't hear that. So when you do these things and you start hearing that clarity, you'll be able to tell instantly with the vocals, especially how high something is, and the drums. And the drums, everybody makes that mistake, especially if they're a drummer and they try to push the drums up real loud like it's the center of everything. No, it's not. And it's sad to tell you that, but it's not. And think about it. Do you want to hear in your ear that snare hitting your? It's going to give you a headache, pounding in your ear. And when you shape that, that's another note about the drums too. When you're dealing with the EQ to shape afterwards on the whole set, you can do it on the whole set overall. You can push down a little bit in the middles to give clarity a little bit from the snare, because the snare is really loud, and it'll help tune that out, and you can compress the drums as a whole too, and that'll help get the kicks and stuff leveled out. But try not to do it too much. Try to use from inside compression inside if it's inside the program. Like I use MT Drummer, so it's inside my program. But everything you do, man, don't go to the dock try to go inside. And if you're moving volumes, use a compressor or a limiter or something to push them up and from the inside. So basically you want your knobs to be at 0 as much as possible, so that when you push in something, it's coming up to a normal level, and then anything you go +1 sounds like +1. If it goes down on your knob, then it sounds like it's going down. And at first, when you put something in, it's not normalized, so it doesn't sound that way. So it goes up and down in a different way, and then you end up screwing yourself up. So just keep that in mind. Also, I found, it's not about having the best $1,000 equipment. Honestly, I'm sitting here with a orange box. I use that. I set the leveling to be exactly at flat as possible, and I use it to kind of cue in where my treble is going to be and things like that too. You have to turn that up a little bit, but not much, because then you just adjust on the other end and turn it back off and then move again. But that's a confusing process for y'all. If you're advanced, you know what I'm talking about. And so you just kind of find a flat signal. You want to get the speakers to sound kind of damp, flat, and put some paddings underneath it so they don't vibrate from the legs and stuff when it's going. And you'll find that when you have that happening, your room can be fairly heated. This is carpeted room, and if you have a TV on, like I do all the time, you won't hear it. You will not hear it. As soon as you turn that TV off, yeah, you'll hear it. And that's when you start to hear that you're listening for like the after sound of everything. Almost like when you get a reverb and you're hearing for the breath of the reverb. You're doing the same thing as the sound. And you'll start to hear the high end and low ends like that. You'll hear, like, think of your vowels, like when you, like that. So when you start hearing that, you want to set that right. And that is the magic trick, guys. That's how I got this mix to sound so good. I just sat there and used my ears, and the way I have it set up in here right now, I'm able to hear everything. And may not be the best on my vocals. I'm not going to say I'm perfect on that. Still working on them. I did put a demo out yesterday of a mix that was not as good as this one either. But I mean, it sounds good and present. So I kind of, in a way, had to build back to get to that presence because I fucked with it. So, in a way, that mix that's out now with the eyeball video is fine. And then this one that you can always go back in the video for about 90 days will be up. And I will be publishing a revision, the same video, music video, of this when I get the vocals fixed. So there's some double ends in there. Once that happens, then yeah, we'll go ahead and release this song in all the stores. We'll put it on Spotify and everything. I'm working on getting this DistroKid stuff back on. So if you want to donate to help me get that back on, I used the last bit of money because we had to get some equipment and some replacement parts and things. So it was like $200 and they got between Christmas and now. From a relative that was very nice of her, and it helped me out tremendously, and I have to thank you that. So anyone else that could do that donation stuff, 20s, 15s, 5s, even $1, man, it helps go a long way, and it makes things possible. I'm still looking for a mic stand. I'm still looking for things like that, so you guys won't get that noise, or I'm not to deal with a lot of noise in the mic. It's practice, man. You also learn, distancing from the mic is another thing, too. When you're singing, if you're trying to swallow the mic, everything's going to come out distorted, especially if you're too close. You want to back up. And I think I did a little bit of that in this track, too. You can hear the harsh ends. But, as is, man, there was a bass end, so I didn't even get to explain to you guys about the bass. So the bass is very simple. Bass doesn't really require a lot, and then sense is relationship to the bass. So I had the sense on, and the sense not really going on during the song, so I can't really show you an example how to mix a synth inside the song too much, because I didn't really pay attention to doing that in this case. But you kind of want to have a fade off going in, and you kind of want to have the volume of that is the volume just under the bass, like as if you were doing vocals but the opposite way. If you were getting what I mean by that, meaning like the vocals are just coming up a little bit over the mix. Well, in this case, the bass it's coming just below the guitar, and then anything like a synth or whatever is coming just below that. So that kind of helps you balance that, and you inside the mix, you're gonna think it's not loud enough or this or that. Trust it. Hit the button to render, and hear it first. Do that. Go to your car. Go to this. Make sure there's no EQ on your thing. I only use EQ because I'm reference mixing from the EQ on the player. So if I want a little bit of a dive in the middle and I'm not hearing it, I can turn it on and off and go, okay, I know where I need to go because I can see the 4K, 8K on that thing. And I can go back in my DAW and I can move mine so that when I turn off that EQ on and off, I don't hear no difference. You can do that. That's a good idea. But keep in mind this. When I go listen to it in the car, the EQ is going to change anyway. When you go in the car, it's going to be different. And that's regardless if you have changed the EQ settings on your thing or not. It's just the way it is, the player itself. So you need to check your friend's car, your phone, your earphones, fucking everything, and see if everything kind of sounds the same. And you'll notice there's a difference, but you're not looking for difference to say, oh, it's wrong. You're looking for, does it sound good? Is it audible? Is it harsh? Like, okay, if I switch to the TV, does everything sound like really bad and not as present, tinny? But then I go to the car and it sounds present. Well, that's a problem. If that is, then that's a problem. And you gotta go back and fix your shit. But if the TV is just the fucking way it is, but you know it's loud, you can hear it, and then you go in the car and it's a different experience, well, duh, because the car's got better speakers than the fucking TV. And that's all I'm saying there. So just don't get confused in that. And I gotta take a break from listening to the song. So after I fix the vocals a little bit, I gotta sit there and not hear it for a while and come back to it. That's another thing you gotta do. That's why I moved on to this one. The other song is still sitting there, and now I know I gotta go and adjust that one because I've been hearing this sound that I like here. And after I do that for a little while, I'll come back here, and I'm pretty sure I'm gonna change the sound here. But basically, once you do that a couple of times, you'll find where when you come back again, you'll be like, oh, I don't have to move anything. When that happens, that's when you're ready. That's when you know you're going to distribute that track. I have a really bad habit of not doing that. But that is the honest God truth. And it's listening to your song 1,000 times. Doing that process over and over and over. For at least 3 months. You're moving things until you finally say, like, you'll literally wake up in the morning and not heard it for a while. And you just turn it on. When you wake up and brushing your teeth, turn it on. Hear it. See what it sounds like first thing in the morning. And if it sounds like good, like it's in your head all day and you can't stop, and it's like in the morning you go, fuck yeah, that's it. You know what I mean? And you know it. Do that 3 or 4 times, and you get that result 3 times. Then yeah, that's it. It's the mix. That's what you want. That's it. And searching for the sound is not really all you're looking for either, man. You're looking for it, your voices, double ends. Is there double chugging going, like da-da-da-da, where it's not supposed to, and scratching noises, anything like that. I make fun of me and myself all the time. So don't take yourself too serious. And I hope this helps you guys, man. I wanted to show you guys, see all these things. See, I only mess with this a little bit. The keys are obviously turned all the way up because they're low set in volume in the opposite way from inside of here. And I haven't gotten to repair that. But, dude, It sat perfect the way it was and it worked. I know it's a little crazy what you see there. Sometimes that happens. Very rarely something weird like that. But you can go back and fix that. 9 times out of 10 when you do, the clarity will come back. And you won't even know it. So I'll get to that later. But as you can see, I don't really move a lot of knobs. Things keep really small, simple. And uh, I don't like to make things too complicated for myself either. You know? So you can see, look, even the vocals, man, they're flat across all the way. So I'm not messing with these knobs unless it's absolutely fucking necessary. And sometimes it is, man, because sometimes something will keep happening and you'll be like, man, fuck it, you know? You can't get it from the inside for some reason, but if you turn that fader down a little bit, there it is. And that could just because the gain level on that track is a little funny, you know? And you just gotta go in there and cut it up in it's small little chunks with the faders. You could dive out some of those harsh pops and whatever that's happening. The clipping is usually from that, like from the beginning of something that's popping. You'll see it in it. It'll literally look like one of these. See this? But it'll be really big. I can still get these down in size, but I leave them alone for now. But oh, there's a good example. See those? See these? See these fucking square units looking like spikes there? Those are bad. That's what happens when you're not paying attention to shit. See? And you'll find them, man. And when you do, you'll take care of them, and you'll get rid of them. And that's why I bust everything and lets his Reaper. It shows a beautiful thing. It shows you the gray lines so you can see where all your shit's at and you're messing up at. So all these loud fuckers, they gotta go down and be about level with each other so it's strung across even. And that's more work I gotta do. That's why I'm saying it's a demo. What you guys got out there is a demo. It is. There's a finalized version. Will be things like that, like these perfections, imperfections, will be sang again, they'll be done again, so you'll get a different experience the next time with the song. It'll just be clearer, better, and more productive. Uh, that's a very short song. I like this one. If you guys are curious what it sounds like inside of a mix, here you go. So that's within the mix. Let's render something down real quick. And put it in MP3. And we'll name this one because we moved a little bit things, so this will be 38% done. You do that too with your mixes. When you rendering them, let yourself know how much percentage is done. You know, that's 38%.